All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well, and also peace and safety to the Akim that spread across the four corners of the world, is pushing out this truth with all diligence and putting their lives on the line to do so. I'm the brother Karatazah here out of Great Millstone, Atlanta. Here with the lesson, just going into watching and being sober. We're all just meditating, in the spirit on my way to work, it just came to mind, so I decided to put it on wax. So I'm going to just jump right into the scriptures. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. And it says, "But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night." And this is for the brothers that is, actually diligent in doing the work, going out to the highways and byways, studying and reading, etc. We know that the day of the Lord is approaching, so it's not going to come as a thief in the night as it is to others, So as verse 3, it says, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." It's verse 4. It says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness." That's right. So we aren't in darkness, man. And ultimately because we have Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, who Yahweh Shai is known as what? The light. So as long as we continue to follow him, we won't be in that darkness, man. As others are. Okay? And it says that day should overtake you as a thief. So like I said before, that day of the Lord, Lord's coming, isn't going to take us as a thief. Even though we don't know the day nor the hour, nor the minute nor the second, we still know that Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is soon to return. Thus saith the scriptures. It's verse 5. It says, "Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of the darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others." You see? So we aren't asleep, man. Sleep is a way of saying that you're not in tune with what's going on, according to Bible prophecy. And ultimately, the coming of the Lord. It says, "But let us watch and be sober." All right, so that's the point I wanted to touch on, is us watching and being sober. All right, now I'm going to read the same verse in the NLT. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 6. It says, "So be on your guard, not asleep like others. Stay alert and clear-headed." You see? So we have to be alert and clear-headed. And how do we do that? By keeping our head in the scriptures. And exercising, in real life, the things that we're learning. That's the wisdom and knowledge that we obtain through our time in the truth. So you're supposed to be on guard. And how do you stay on guard? By keeping up with the current prophecies that's happening. Going into the mark of the beast. World War III. What else? The war in with Iran and America. All of this is Bible prophecy, man. And it keeps you, in tune with the scriptures. All right, so you won't be overtaken by that darkness, like it said in the upper verses, man. All right, so we're supposed to be on our guard, on our watch, Like the scripture tells us, what's that in Ezekiel? Chapter 3. It's like it. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. So a watchman is what? He's going to be on his guard, to see the incoming, troops, or enemies, to do what? To blow the trumpet. All right. It says unto the house of Israel. And who are the Israelites? You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. So the Lord has made the elect a watchman unto you, a guard. And what does a guard have to do? First and foremost, he has to guard. And he has to be sober, circumspect, vigilant, foreseeing the things before they happen. All right. It says, therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. All right. So we're supposed to be giving them warning. All right. It says, when I say unto you, when I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life. Yeah, so that's what we're supposed to do, man. All right, even if they don't, even if they hear or forbear, we still supposed to give that warning out. Because you don't know who the Lord is going to save or not, man. All right. Now we have the saying, if a nigga can't get it, move on, right? But that don't mean that we ain't try. We ain't say nothing. Brothers do videos. We go out to the highways and byways. All right, so we are warning the wicked. So it's up to them. To, like I said, whether they hear or forbear. But it says, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Right, so the blood is still on your hand because you didn't send a warning out to the wicked. All right, verse 19 says, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his sin, but thou hast delivered thy soul. You see, and that all comes from being a watchman. The scriptures say the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth into it. Okay? So the righteous man is going to regard the things, the sayings, and the scriptures that the Lord told us to that we should be like in order to be saved. In order to be joint heirs with Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, but the wicked is going to disregard. Okay. And that same, like I said, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity. All right. So from there, I'm gonna go to the classic 1 Peter 5 and 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant. It says, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. You see, so the scriptures require us to be sober and vigilant, man. Let me get that word vigilant here. It's G1127.
Strong's G1127. Gregareo.
And it says to watch, give strict attention to, be cautious and active. You see? Hey, when the scriptures say, when I come, who shall I find so doing? That's being active. You know, all of these things intertwine with each other, man. You know? Here a little, there a little. It says, to take heed lest through remission and indolence some destructive calamity suddenly overtake one. That's 1 Thessalonians the 5th chapter, man. You know, the day of the Lord is going to overtake people that sleep and not vigilant, not watching. You know, not giving strict attention to. You know, and not being sober. Okay? And that's why we continue, even though the same message is being brought out again and again, we still continue because, you know, the Lord, you know, he still requires us to do the work. You know, we'll know when the Lord, you know, close up shop, you know. We will know. All right. But Satan, you know, like it tells us in Revelation 12:12, you know, he's gonna come down because he know if he have a short time. All right. So how do we combat that? You know, how do we combat this roaring lion? You know, whose attention is on the prey, us being the prey. We combat it with doing the scriptures. You know, with taking heed to what the Lord, you know, requires us to do, you know, because all throughout the scriptures, the Lord tells us how he's going to protect, you know, his men, how he's going to do, you know, to you know, our enemies, you know, and we clearly have accounts, you know, to where the Lord, you know, did do those things to the men of the Lord. You know, with Elijah making it rain, you know, fire from heaven. You know, Daniel in the lion's den. You know, and many other scriptures, you know, accounts that goes into into this topic. You know, the Lord always protected his men. You know. Why? Because they were actively, you know, in tune with Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, and that's how we have to be active, you know. So I just wanted to touch on that. You know, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. You know, I'm going to go ahead and close up by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, B'Shem Ruach HaKodesh. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And until the next time.